Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be here with you today. If this is your first time stumbling across one of my videos or my channel, welcome. I hope you stick around, and more importantly, I hope that I'm able to just encourage you, inspire you, equip you in some way in your motherhood, your homeschooling, if you're a homeschooler, and if not, that's okay, in your faith and in your overall wellness and life. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, so grab your water, grab your coffee, your tea, whatever you need, and we're just gonna have a little bit of a chatty chat. We're talking today about finishing well, finishing strong, that last bit of school year. And for me personally, as a newer homeschooling mom, this is our second year of homeschool, a few things that I've learned in these last 2 years. I talk to women pretty often, both homeschooling and non-homeschooling moms alike, and so I've noticed there's a few common topics and points of discussion that tend to come up, and so here are a few things that I've learned in this journey, what we're doing now that we have finished our classical conversations school year, but yet we still have some work to do to finish our school year out and close it. Okay, so we are not one of those families that homeschools all through the year, but I have found that I'm like a happy medium person. I need breaks, we need breaks, our family needs breaks, but yet I've learned to not have too long of breaks. Last summer, we took way too long of a break. We finished our classical conversations curriculum, and we really lost steam after that. And so we ended up kind of fizzling out at the very end of our other curriculum that we supplement with, which we have been using, the good and the beautiful, for math, language arts. Last year was just basically math and language arts, and we totally lost our steam and fizzled out. And we ended up, because of that, having a very long summer break. And it was too long, far too long. So we've learned. We improve, we adjust, we move on. Hey, water. Okay, so this year I am determined for us to finish our year strong. There is something about just finishing what you've started, and yet it's so easy not to do. And if you're someone like me who tends to be a creative, and you get excited and you get distracted by all the squirrels and all the shiny objects, it's really easy to be like, okay, moving on. We did enough. Now there's this beautiful, wonderful, glorious, exciting, fun thing to do. And so I have decided, made up my mind, I've taken every thought captive and tested and approved it, that we are not going to do that. We are going to finish strong. So we are done with CC. We finished 2 weeks ago. Last week we just had like a really easy, let's reset, readjust, rest and breathe kind of week. And this week we've kind of just gotten back in, and we're readjusting and finding a routine now that our classical conversation part of our life, between our community days and just having that chunk of curriculum in our everyday at home, has been removed. This week has been really great as far as readjusting. And so what we're doing, and what I have found that works really well, is we're sticking to our math and our language arts and our Bible every day. We were doing a Foundations of the Bible study that is an optional part of Classical Conversations curriculum. I shared that in a day in the life video a while back, and again, like I said, I highly recommend it, even if you're not in Classical Conversations, because if you just want a fabulous, in-depth, knock your socks off, but you could do with multiple age Bible study, Foundations of the Bible study by my dear friend, who I'm blessed to call friend, Lindsay, with Driven by Grace, is an incredible one to do and incorporate. Now that is finished because it accompanied our 24 weeks of classical conversations. So we are now doing her Bible memory verse study, where each week we are going to take a Bible verse, work on memorizing it, do a little bit of copy work, do a little bit of artwork, do a little bit of drawing, and just reading and discussing. And so that's what we're doing for Bible. We've got our math, we've got language arts, and then we have added in a science study that actually we started last fall, and then it was just too much at the time. So we had put it on the back burner, and then I brought it back in this week, and it was so much fun. And so it's nice to have that study and not feel like we are overwhelmed by all the studies, all the things, all the curriculums, and get it back in. So currently we are picking back up with our Good and the Beautiful space science unit. And it was so fun. And this week it was perfect because our Bible memory verse was Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God made the heavens and the earth. And so we happened to be on like lesson 4 in the Good and the Beautiful study, and it was the sun and the solar system, and so it was like the planets, and it just fit in really well and tied it all together. So that is something that we're doing, and it's kind of nice to have like not an overloaded schedule, but it's somewhat kind of light, and we're going to be able to just carry that out. We've got maybe 6 weeks left, and so I am bound and determined that we are going to finish the school year strong. Okay, so if you are one of those who struggles with finishing things and you kind of start losing steam at the end of the year, I just want to give you encouragement and allow yourself that little bit of grace and that little bit of wiggle room. Give yourself some time to readjust your schedule, but just make it fun. We've made it a lot more relaxed. So rather than doing school in our schoolroom at the table, we have been kind of like grabbing a snack, grabbing breakfast, sitting on our living room floor, just kind of spread out, crayons spread out, books and papers spread out, and we've just made it a lot more relaxed and easygoing because we don't have as much to try to get through in a day. And so even if we don't start right at 8:30 or 9, which we haven't been, we've been starting more like 9:30, even closer to 10, we don't have as much work to go through. And so we've just kind of created that wiggle room to relax and to talk and to be silly, but still get the work done. And my goal has been, because I know that as a mom, not like in the homeschool realm, but just as a mom and a wife and a homemaker, I like for us to have that work done by lunchtime. Whereas I know other people who, they start their day later and carry it well into the afternoon. Like, I got stuff to get done. So I like us to be done. And so just kind of creating, rather than a strict schedule, that little bit of rhythm with flexibility has been really beautiful. So maybe allow yourself that space to kind of mix it up a little bit and find a way that can just create a different rhythm and a different pace and just a whole different way of finishing it, but that makes it exciting for you guys. And just decide what you really want. I mean, it's important to finish. Like, I want to be someone, and I want to exemplify that for my children and to be that role model, that we finish what we started. And so I know it's so easy. I had a friend text me the other day, and she's like, it is so hard to really like get through and be motivated now that Classical Conversations is done. It's like you've got summer on your mind. And I'm like, I know, but it's okay. I think just switch it up, tweak. It's not like switch it up like throw everything in the air and make it so different, but it's just what little things can you tweak that help you to finish well and to finish strong. And most importantly, I would say, pray about it and pray to the Lord that He would give you that discipline and diligence. What other D word can I come up with? That He would give you just the drive, another D word, there we go, to be able to finish well and to finish what you started and to really drill that in to your kids, that it is good and it is honorable and it is worthy to finish what you started and to finish well. Let's talk. What few things have I learned through our first 2 years of homeschooling? And maybe what will I kind of do differently? What are the biggest lessons I've learned and things that I've had the most conversations with other moms about? First and foremost, it takes a good solid year to even like decompress and like find a new rhythm. It's like you are going through such this, what is even the word? When you have lived life one way. Our kids had been in private school Then they switched to public school when we moved to the current town we're in. So they were just in public school for a little over a year, and then, the big thing happened and the world shut down. And so then we ended up pulling to homeschool. But when you go from like one way of life, one train of thought, and you completely switch gears to another, there is just so much to be changed. There are things you have to let go of, ideas you have to let go of, schedules and rhythms, and just relational ways. I mean, you go from having your kids and everyone kind of spread out, like your husband's at work, you're working, kids are here, and everyone's kind of like, doing their own life and doing their own thing, and then kind of coming back together, to having that togetherness 24/7, and then trying to establish new rhythms, new routines, new vision, new direction. There are so many moving parts. So the thing I learned the most, and some people kind of gave me this advice, and it's not that I didn't take it seriously, but like you don't know until you know. You need at least a year to really like decompress and rebuild and find that good rhythm and that good routine. I think even as our kids just change seasons and they're in different age ranges and different stages of life, like that kind of happens again. So give yourself time and give yourself grace. I think the beautiful thing is that, the Lord created in creation 4 seasons. Like nothing stays the same and nothing just continues on one path. And so there are times that you just have to kind of give yourself the room to be like, okay, this is going to be different, and we've got this going on, and we've got to adjust this, and things aren't going to feel normal for a while, but we will, like the dust always settles, right? And so there will come a time that the dust settles and you find your groove and you find your rhythm and you're on your way. Another thing I learned, nothing is permanent. I tend to be a little bit of an extremist. I tend to be like all or nothing, like I'm all in, I'm all focused, or I'm kind of out. I can't do like this 1 foot in, halfway, half out kind of thing. And so it was easy to like want to dive in and like get all the curriculums and make all the plans. But then when you come to realize like, hey, this isn't really actually working for us, it was really a relief to figure out like nothing's permanent, and that's okay. So one of the things that I brought into this second homeschool year versus the first, and trying to like make everything just last the whole year, was this year I decided that kind of every quarter, about every 6 to 8 weeks or so, I would just kind of pause and reevaluate the last 6 weeks and decide or take a look at like what was really working well and what was not working well, and what do I want to change going forward. And so like I shared with you earlier, we started that science study from The Good and the Beautiful, the space study, which I thought was brilliant, because we, in our classical conversations curriculum and our science at that time, we started it, we were learning about space. And so I thought, oh, this is perfect. We're going to tie it all in. And honestly, it just was too much. Like at the time, it was too much. It was like too many studies we were trying to do and trying to fit in, and then we had, just life happening in our everyday life and sports and different things, and it was too much. And so we ended up pausing that, and then, came Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and that long break, and we didn't pick it back up. And so now that we finished, I figured this is a good time to bring it back in. And so bringing it back in now has given us a little more room to really actually enjoy it and not feel like we're trying to rush through the study and just like get it done to check that off the list for the day or for the week. Instead, we can really enjoy it and spend the time to do the crafts or do the experiments and do the fun things that come with the study, instead of, like pieceworking it and trying to fit in this works, this goes with the other stuff we're doing, or this is too much and only like half doing it. So that's been really nice. Another thing that I would say too is like knowing and understanding, this is kind of, I guess, point 3 if we're making note, if we're numbering our points, is like less is more, but it's okay to like take in and add out when you need to. And so taking that out for the time being was awesome, but it's also nice adding back in and having that time to really look at your schedule and say, okay, this part of our school year is over. This is behind us. Now we're able to move on, and I can add this back in, or I could add these things in and take these things out. Another thing I found that worked really well for us was creating more of a loop schedule. Rather than trying to do all the things and all the subjects, all the days of the week, it helped us tremendously to kind of create a loop schedule where like Mondays are our science days, Tuesdays are our history days, Wednesdays we did geography, which that was fun. I loved with CC, I love bringing the geography in, and a lot of times for us that was as simple as going on YouTube and like finding a video that was like 10 facts about I'm like trying to think of a place. 10 facts about like Bolivia or about Peru or some place that you don't think about or talk about very often. So it's fun to learn those different cultures. It could be really simple. I loved that. So having that loop schedule worked really well for us, and I'm carrying that over even though CC's done. There are the things we do every day. Like I said, we do Bible, we do math, we do language arts pretty much every day of our school week. But adding those extra things in just made it nice to not feel like we're trying to cram it all in every day and overload and overwhelm ourselves. And there's days where we can double up on stuff, it doesn't matter. And there's days where it's like, you know what, we're not doing it today. We don't have the energy, we don't have the time, we don't have the attitudes, so we're not going to do it. So less is more, but add in when you're ready. Add in when you can. Add in when it works. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of homeschooling, and that is the beauty of this life, is being able to have that freedom and the prerogative to decide what's working, what's not, and what can you adjust. All right, friends, that is it for today. Quick, little chatty, finishing strong and moving forward kind of video. I would love to hear from you. What are you doing to finish the school year strong? Like, what is your biggest struggle and sticking point? Please tell me I'm not alone. And hitting that wall of motivation where you're like, we just gotta get through it. If you are a Classical Conversations family, let me know in the comments. And what do you do when your school year ends? And even if you're not Classical Conversations family, I would love to hear, like, how do you school? Do you take a summer break? Or do you kind of just school on and off all the way throughout the year? Maybe we'll end up getting to that, I don't know. But right now we're taking a little more defined breaks, and I'm really excited for summer. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you all soon. Hopefully see you next week.